come in.
Hi, Rita.
Hi, Jacob. Nice to meet you again.
Doing good, thank you.
Yes.
So as I said, I'm Jake Rand with the Georgia Insurance Agency. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I have a business card here for you. If
Okay.
you have one for me.
I do.
All right, perfect.
I like the black.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. And so, really quick, I just want to say I'm really excited to be here. Thank you very much. And I wanted to say it actually brought back some fun memories for me looking at your business, just because your car wash in particular, all throughout my high school years and early college years. Every summer, I kind of ran my own car wash business, just in terms of cleaning the local neighborhoods and stuff like that. And so it really just brought me back a little bit to some of that fun stuff. Yeah, it was a good way to make some money. I don't think I did it quite to the extent that you're doing it currently,
That's okay,
but
though.
yeah, no, it was definitely something that just made me smile to look back on it thinking about this. And okay, so for our meeting today, I have a little agenda with me.
Sure.
If I can just go over that really quickly.
Sure.
So more than anything else, what I want today is to just learn about the process of your business in order to really understand it, and as well as your personal property, and just see if we can identify some pain points that maybe we can come up with a solution to, and see if we can be of mutual benefit to each other. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds fair. Yep.
All right, perfect. And so is there anyone else that really needs to be involved in this decision-making process?
Kind of the obvious, my husband.
Yes.
And he was not able to attend today, but he and I are, obviously partners in business and in life.
Okay.
So we'll make this decision jointly.
Okay.
But it's just the two of us.
Okay, perfect. And I just want to say I don't have my partner here with me as well, and that's something that we can go into moving forward.
Okay.
But so I understand that, and I wanted to ask, if we do come up with a proper solution for you, is there any reason that we could not implement sooner rather than later?
I have a few questions I want to get answered, and we might circle back to those. I don't want to ask some of you just yet,
Absolutely.
but I do have a couple things. If we can get comfortable there, then we can move forward.
Absolutely. And those are things that we can get into anything that you are comfortable with when we get to it. Absolutely.
Okay.
And so just to start, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your personal property. And so when we spoke last time, you mentioned that you were doing some renovations, adding some new structures. Will you tell me a little bit about what you've been doing to your personal property?
Yeah, sure. So we bought this beautiful historic mansion, and have made a lot of just improvements to the property, just bringing it up to code, making it livable, but also maintaining the historical integrity of it. I'm actually looking at putting it on the Register of Historic Places, so that's something that I need some guidance on to make sure we meet those requirements. I think my biggest concern is obviously we've invested a lot of money, not that that's unimportant, that it is, but there are so many unique things in this house that are literally irreplaceable because of the age and just you can't exactly make something from the 1800s again today and have it be the same thing. So worst case scenario, I want to know that I could replace with like things, if you will, if something catastrophic happens.
And is that something that you've been in constant contact with your insurance provider in order for them to understand both that sentimental value as well as the overall valuation of the property in terms of the growth that you've made with it?
I wouldn't say I'm totally comfortable. I mean, I know they put a value, they assign a value, but I don't know exactly what it's worth. I know how much money we put in it, but I don't know what that would be in terms of the appropriate values.
Okay, absolutely. And so that is just something that you do want to keep an eye on moving forward, that overall evaluation. And in terms of the relationship that you have with your insurance provider, is that something that you feel consistently confident with in terms of how they serve you and the things that you're trying to accomplish?
Typically, yes. I think the two things where I don't feel comfortable are we're expanding our business into northern Florida, so we're dealing with an entirely different state, a new set of laws. I need to make sure that we have everything, organized and everything is appropriate to meet the conditions in that state. But then we had a really bad claim situation, and a claim that Fred and I thought would be covered wasn't.
Okay.
I know it gets a little dicey between our agent and the insurance company and whose fault it really is, but it just left a really bad taste in my mouth. So I do want to know, what do you guys do to if something like that were to happen to us, what is your recourse? What can you guys do to help me?
Yeah, absolutely. And do you mean that as a question that you want me to answer now, or do you want to continue with the presentation in order for me to address that?
You can answer it whenever you're comfortable.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I don't want to get you off course.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. And so just to make sure that I'm getting everything correctly, you just want to make sure that we're really there for you to be clear with what we're trying to cover in your claims.
Yeah, and to fight my corner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes all these lawyers get involved in interpretations, and I want somebody that fights my corner.
Yeah, absolutely. And we really do, we pride ourselves on trying to be with you and work with you and be by your side. We are a local company, and we take a lot of pride in our clients, definitely. So that's something that we always try to address. And does that kind of ease your concern for that aspect a little bit?
I think so. I think if you can just kind of help me get comfortable with that, maybe share some examples.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So one thing that I will say, an example that we use is a similar kind of business to yours. It's like an auto body shop as well, and they have multiple locations throughout the South Georgia area. And we really do, we've been by their side. They actually had one of their shops where they had property damage, and we were always clear with them. We were always trying to be appropriate and make sure that they understood what was covered and where we were trying to help them. We always stand by their side. That's something that we take a lot of pride in with our clients, definitely. And so, do you feel like that you understand that a little bit? We'll continue forward with that, absolutely. And so, one thing that you definitely touched on is the growth, and your business is expanding. Man, can I ask how many locations do you currently have right now around?
We currently have, I think 3 locations, but we're looking to expand to up to 10, so that's pretty sizable growth for us.
Okay, absolutely. So you want to move up to 10. Okay, absolutely. And so if there were to be a situation where you receive damage to part of your property, how would that kind of affect the way that you want to grow your business?
I think when we're looking at the markets, obviously we're looking for markets where we don't have competition because we want to make money. But also, I'd like to have a little diversification. So, I don't want to have everything in the path of a hurricane. It's kind of hard to in this part of the country. But I think if we could diversify a little bit, it would help.
Okay, definitely. So when you say diversify, what exactly do you mean? Just make sure that they're
geographically.
Not okay, geographically. So I completely understand. Absolutely. And one of the things I want to bring up with that is crossing state lines. And with that expansion, do you feel that your current provider is really giving you the coverage that you need in terms of crossing those geographic areas as well as just trying to be an expanding business?
I'll put it this way. He's been fine up until this point. But there's a reason I'm speaking with you today. Because I do have some hesitations about, as our world gets bigger, is he going to be able to be that trusted advisor I'm looking for? I do have to say one kind of hesitation I alluded to a tiny bit earlier with you, though, is you're pretty green in this business. I think you said you had a couple years of experience, and I'm a little worried about that.
And so, yes, I understand that. And so it's my age in particular and my ability to work with you that concerns you slightly.
Experience, not age, experience.
Okay, I completely understand that. And so what I do want to say is, first of all, as I said, the All Georgia Insurance Agency has been operating for 25 years currently. And I do have, that organization has my back throughout this. And from me personally, I do only have a few years in this business, but I received the same training program that the people that have been for 10 years are experiencing. And so I really do feel well prepared for that, as well as I try and, I feel like I work well with the niche of high net worth individuals and really understanding their needs and how they want to expand to live their lives.
So you do have experience with people like me, if you will.
That is something that I have found, yes.
And you have support, so if you don't know an answer, you can.
Oh, absolutely. There's an entire network of support out of Georgia Insurance Agency. We really try and have each other's back to make sure that we have the clients back. Absolutely. Okay. And so moving forward from that just a little bit, I wanted to ask, first of all, something that's very important is the backbone of your entire work, and that is the employees. And being in the auto service industry in particular, have you ever experienced any injuries or anything along those lines of your workers?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that's definitely something that
it is.
Happens quite a bit throughout that course. And have you always been properly prepared for those kind of injuries in terms of just making sure that you have the right compensation in place and everything along those lines?
Um, I think that's something that
Hmm.
as a good business owner, I
Hmm.
always need to be looking at
Hmm.
because my staff is everything to
Hmm.
me, and I want to make
Absolutely.
sure that if the worst happened to them, that they're taken care of.
Hmm.
I'm also looking at, looking at options. Should we consider offering more training to employees? And
Okay.
are there certifications that we can give them? And how would that, perhaps
Hmm.
impact not only my workers' compensation costs,
Hmm.
but also their overall just kind of safety and
Hmm. Absolutely.
keeping them protected.
Yeah, and so you obviously sound like someone that cares deeply about your workers, obviously. And so, what would that kind of do to your business if there was some sort of accident that you weren't properly covered for, both financially and wouldn't that affect the morale of your workers as well if they didn't feel secure in the workplace?
Yeah, it could shut us
Hmm.
down. I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, and it ruins our reputation in the
Hmm.
community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really important, especially as you mentioned. A really big thing that you're working on right now is growing,
Right.
both geographically moving around and also just adding new locations, constantly adding new
Right.
employees and everything along
Yeah.
those lines. So I do understand that completely. And so, really quickly, what I wanted to just to summarize a little bit from what our talks is some of the areas that you're really concerned about and that you want to make sure you're properly covered in would definitely be first of all your growth. As I said, you're implementing new shops, constantly trying to evolve.
Yeah.
Also, with your personal property, some of those irreplaceable items, some of those things that are really important to you and that value,
Yeah.
and then the safety and well-being of your workers whenever it comes to the worker compensation and just making sure that they're properly taken
Right.
care of at all times. And so I wanted to ask, is there anything else in particular that you feel has been a pain point and that you really want to highlight to me to make sure that I'm aware of?
That's a really good question. I think I mentioned the National Register of Historic Places,
Yes.
and that's a really big deal for me personally. It's
Okay.
a passion of mine.
Hmm.
But I want to make sure that we have everything we need to meet
Hmm.
those kind of stipulations that group puts out.
Hmm.
The other thing is, as we open each of these shops, we have an owner kind of partner where we retain 80% ownership.
Absolutely.
Whoever comes in to run that shop in that location has 20% ownership.
Hmm.
Sometimes we know these people and maybe they've worked for us in the past. Sometimes they're people we've had to go out and find. And I want to know that if they did something wrong, that our business is still protected. So if they stole from us, if they treated other employees unfairly, or just exhibited misconduct at work, we have to look for those things and kind of worried about that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that is a part of life. Like you have to take care of those kind of things just because there are people that do things like that, and you can't truly trust every single person that works for you. Absolutely. And so, looking at these items, just going over them again, the growth of your business, the irreplaceable items, the National Register of Historic Places, the safety of your workers, and that you really want to make sure that theft is covered.
Right.
Those are all sort of areas that can definitely impact your business at a high scale. And so I wanted to ask you if I could go and work on these issues and find a solution for them, would you be willing to consider them to make sure that, or to be implemented within your business?
Yeah, I think if you could help me with these, I'd be very interested.
Yeah, absolutely, because that is a wide array of things, and your business is growing.
Yes.
You're accomplishing a lot of new amazing things, and so we definitely want to take care of that and look at that. And so I wanted to ask you, what is it exactly that you want to look for in an insurance agency that you would feel really confident with?
I think somebody that knows our business. We have grown and we learn as we grow. But I want a trusted advisor and a partner. And I'd like somebody who can walk beside us as we do this and tell us when we're maybe not doing things the right way. Just be careful when you tell Fred that he doesn't like to hear that.
Yeah.
But we want somebody who can guide us in this. And then I mentioned that claim situation, and I want to know that our agent fights our corner for us every single day.
That honesty and transparency is such a huge thing in terms of that.
Prepare me for price increases. I have friends that say first year that their premium's really low and they kind of skyrocket the second year.
Absolutely.
I want somebody who's going to be honest and upfront with me.
And so these are a few points that I've already hit on, but I just want to reiterate, first of all, that the All Georgia Insurance Agency is local to your area. We really want to be people that fight in your corner. We're an hour away if anything happens.
Yes.
Thank you.